Bonjour à tous, hello everyone, this is Mac Plays on Mac and welcome back to Mount Mac. In the first episode of Mount Mac, we created the bones for our new city. We had to have all of the main streets that are actually likely going to change because most of my city has been based on a grid that was made with a one unit road when actually just the basic road when you update it is going to be to 2 units. So I might have some issue in the future, but right now let's just stick with that 1 unit road that we've been using. So at the end of the first episode, we were running out of money. We did not add much population. All of the taxes was raised to the maximum. I did not add much city services. All of this to say that our city was doing very bad. Since the economy 2.0, it is very hard to start a city, I feel like. But here you see me right there trying to get the bones ready to finally grow our financials and make sure that our city is going to thrive in the future. Unfortunately, everything that you're seeing being built right now is actually gonna be disappearing very soon because I actually was not able to reload that save game. So all of what you're seeing building are just the roots of what I'm going to try to recreate later. Although I did make some mistake, I was starting to detail a bit. I was starting to create some way to generate some energy, some money, and all of these kind of mistakes that I realized I was making, not either too soon or too late. I'm gonna fix all of this issue once I'm able to go back into the game, and that's gonna be just in a few minutes. Right now I'm trying to zone as much as possible so I can have a big population and I can have more taxes. Unfortunately, what I did as a big mistake was having my tax too high, and then I had no demand for the low residential whatsoever. So that's why nothing is building here. So I had to rezone quite a few into medium density. So I had some single row building and also some medium density, but since my city is very small, I try to keep all of the building only using 4 units total, maybe 6 units, so they don't go too high. You see me here plopping some parking to add a bit of realism and details. Unfortunately, parking lots were a mistake to add. They cost money to build and then to keep maintained. So that's a mistake that I'm not going to do again when we start. And finally, you're gonna see me start building more and more medium density when the first thing I should have done is actually decrease by a lot that rate for the lower density. So the game kept crashing and crashing at that moment. I could not understand what was happening. Like right here, it seems like all is going fine. Actually, I did a time lapse over there at night because I could not do anything else. I was trying to see if my game was able to be used again, and this was at a speed at 10,000. So it was still slow. It's just frustrating. I cannot do much. I could not move anywhere, and the game was just logging me out of Windows 11, and then I just had to start everything. I tried to change the allocation of how much RAM I was using. I think I might have been using too much RAM at some point, and then I was using not enough RAM because the game was even slower. So what I actually found out after about 6-7 hours of troubleshooting is this map is very hard to run for my computer. It's very intensive, and I don't think this computer can run it very well. It does not have enough RAM, unfortunately, for all of the data. So every time I face the mountain, the big mountain range where you saw me at the 9 time, this is where the issue goes. So I just need to make sure I don't go there too often, too much, and it should be fine. That's actually what happened when I recorded this episode. Like right now, everything you see me recording is what I'm able to keep. And I try to always stay that way, and so far it's been working. My big issue though is how is it going to go for the future? How am I going to be able to do that when the population is going to be 30, 40, 50,000 people, when right now we are barely at 5,000 and it's already running slow? I have no idea. I honestly don't know. So you saw last time when my episode crashed, I had about 3,000, 2,000 dollar kind of dollar in the bank account. Here you can see that I'm at 33,000. I made the changes, I explained, I lower all of the taxes. I'm building things right away. First off, the wind turbine, I built one of them. It made me energy independent, so I saved money on here. But then I saw that actually I can export that energy very easily. So I built 8 of the wind turbine, and because of that, I was able to generate a bit of money from this. So that helped me. After that, we had the taxes for medium density and low density lowered, so I attract more people. That also helped me to make more money. Actually, I unfortunately have to hold on onto the fire department, onto the police department, because this I cannot afford them and they also cost too much money. So that's where we are right there. That's where we're gonna see fire. Also, I'm switching some of the zoning from commercial to offices. I have a huge demand in office. I don't have anything in commercial department, so I just decided it's time to use all of these empty spaces, make them to use. A big mistake I made here, I thought I was out of water and I start to build to improve, upgrade my ground pump water system. Actually, what I should have done is my budget for the water was only at 50%. I should have just increased it. Now what I'm doing right now is just preparing the bone for our tram system that's gonna go into town later in the episode. I just want to make sure that I don't have any buildings that's gonna be in the way of that line. I'm making sure like everything is gonna be good and ready for later. So I'm trying to build it as possible in a vanilla way, as much as possible, but to be honest, anarchy sometimes just help to make some of the curves that are not maybe the best here. So I'm gonna just go with single, actually no, this is low density. I'm gonna try to make as much low density as possible and keep the demand. I'm gonna create some job as well. Again, commercial demand is not there, so we're gonna go with offices, and that's pretty much how it's gonna go all over here for now. Remember, all of this lack of details and very vanilla, not much to see, is because I'm actually trying to save money, to keep to make money and to grow our city. I don't want to go bankrupt right now. So yeah, economy 2.0 is much harder, and it's not really meant to do all of the details. At least so far for me right now, it's very hard to do it. So I'm gonna start to keep expanding the road system with these cheap roads. All of this will be reworked later. We're gonna try to keep the same bones, the same architecture, but all unfortunately, or most of my zoning is gonna get changed. That road that I had in the first part of the episode, it used to go underneath. Unfortunately, on Mac, when you use Move It, it's very hard, and the game has been crashing a couple times. Maybe it's too intense for the RAM for my game to handle it, but I decided to stop it. Here, this map, it's incredible. Because of that water effect mod that I have on, the water actually flow changes depending on the season, and you can see that during the summer, the dry season, the water is too low, and actually all of this area, it's linked. There is no more island. But here during the winter time, I wanted to show you this flow. It took a while, it took about a month of game time, but that water, when it came back, just formed a big island over there. So it's pretty impressive. Now we're gonna try to bring the train to our city, and I couldn't find a place, so I had to buy an extra tile. Unfortunately, there is money. A tile keep is expensive, but I had to put it over there. I think this is a perfect location for it. I'm gonna also have to move all of the industrial outside of where we are right now. All of this is very temporary, but it does cost a lot of money. So right now, remember, this is just the bare bones of the city. All of this is gonna change. Don't get too much attached to it. So here, another issue that I made is, because I have all of my budgeted at 50%, the garbage processing time was way too slow, and that's why actually it keeps needing to get bigger and bigger because it's getting full. And the thing that I should have done actually was just increase the budget, so it would have been more efficient, so they will process that trash much quicker. I severed a few roads over there and I'm putting back some. I want to try to avoid crossing the main road as much as possible. As soon as this is gonna be a very big developed station, I'm thinking about having actually the train track going on a tunnel instead of going across that main road to the left here, to make sure there is a connectivity between the north and the south side of that train station. I want to create a pedestrian bridge, and I was not able to connect the pedestrian walkways from the station to the road, so I'm gonna have to take a look at that later. But let's see how this railroad work for us, and I hope it's not gonna put us too much into debt. Anyway, now we have the perfect path of the railroad. Let's try to zone a bit more area and maybe make the area by the train station a bit more dense by increasing the density, I mean. So our cash flow is still positive. We're actually still making money every week, every hour, and our tram line is actually getting used pretty much. So that's very cool. I wasn't expecting to see that much use, that much people using it. I want to add now a tiny bit of details by adding some parking lot. Maybe not the smartest thing to do with our money, our budget, but I kind of want to have at least a tiny bit of details, and I think this might stay for the future. But yeah, did you see how now this is an island, and just a while ago it was actually connected and it looked like our houses were just stopping in the middle of nowhere for no reason? Alright, let's build a bit more of this grid. We're gonna actually try to get this ready for the future by having the grid with the actual road that we're gonna be using, the 2-unit road, and here we're gonna have some more grid and we're gonna develop the industry. Once again, I'm gonna run into some water problem, and actually again I built just another outlet right there when what I should have done was increase the water budget. All of this I did not realize at the time. I found out about it when I actually took a more deeper look into my finances, and I couldn't understand why I was so low on water. Now it's time to add a bit of density here. Still, my commercial is not building up. It's frustrating. I don't know why. I hope I will find out about it very soon. But in the meantime, I'm adding some mixed residence. And here I am actually gonna add some beachfront property kinda. And I'm gonna use this beautiful housing that we had with that beach property asset pack. So the problem we're gonna have here is the water is only here during the winter time, so it's not really beachy. I don't know what I'm gonna do yet. I'm thinking maybe we're gonna have some housing onto that island, which is not an island during the summertime, and having like a dirt road going under that can only be accessed during the summertime. That could be very interesting, maybe, because this actually is something that exists when you go to Ireland, when you go to France, you know, you can see all of these kind of things. So maybe that will be a cool touch. Yeah, let me know in the comment what you think about it. I am just astonished by how amazing this map look. It is incredible. Look at the mountain in the background. I mean, the clouds could be a bit better, the lighting could be maybe a bit better, but this is just incredible. The water flow, look at this island, how the water go up and down. I just love it. Anyway, this is about to be the end of today's episode number 2 of Mount Mac. I'm very glad we got it back to work. I don't know how long this series is going to last and we're going to be able to play. But in the meantime, let's take a look at everything we accomplished today. Une fois de plus, encore merci à tous pour avoir passé le temps de regarder cette vidéo. Thank you so much everyone for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed this episode and all of the troubleshooting we had to do. But we'll see how long this series lasts. I'm assuming at least a couple more episodes. I'm very excited about this map. I just hope my computer can handle it. Bye bye guys. Au revoir.